Has this industry made any recent advances that have chemical foundation?
You know, yes. I mean, this field is constantly advancing. It very quickly too. They have a new chemical out that we use to rehydrate decomposed skin on the fingers in order to enhance the fingerprint so we can identify an unknown individual. And that's recent. We just used that ourselves, I guess it was back in April. And that was a new chemical that they've come out with. So it's constantly advancing, you know, sometimes by accidents, like Ivan was telling you with the man in Japan, you know, and sometimes people, they spend a lot of time, you know, researching different chemicals and what can this do? Well, maybe if I use it this way, it'll work better this way. So it's always advancing. You've got to keep up with it, that's the one thing. We also process items that are like tape, masking tape used to bind someone's arms. We get gorgeous fingerprints on the sticky side of the tape with something called sticky side powder. We use a pre-mixed version called Wet Wop, but it's basically just pre-mixed sticky side powder. This is Wet Wop. And this is what we use for masking tape. Some people will try to hide bullet holes with mailing labels. So if they have a white wall, they'll put a mailing label on it and think it hides the bullet hole. Well, we can take that label off and get their fingerprint on the sticky side, and now we can prove that they put that there. We use that for, you know, possession of a firearm by a felon. We can prove that, you know, not that the gun was in his hand, but that he was there, you know.
Are there any environmental concerns that arise as a result of the chemical processes?
No, I mean, as you can see, I didn't wear a mask for anything. You know, nothing back there is really going to hurt us. In the muriatic acid, we do use that occasionally. Of course, we're very careful with that. You know, the amido black I was telling you that reacts with the blood, that can be considered toxic if you breathe too much of it in, so you would wear a mask when using that. But as far as environmentally, nothing we use is really...
There are no hazardous materials?
No. Most of our hazmats are biological materials. They're going to be blood, you know, transmittable disease items, things like that. That's the most dangerous aspect as far as our hazmats go. This is our dry room. These are called dry tanks, and what goes in here are victims' clothing, suspects' clothing, bloody, anything with a biological fluid on it. And they all have to be dried in here prior to being packaged for evidence, because if they go into an evidence bag wet, the moisture, the humidity will actually destroy the DNA. So it's then useless to us, especially in the case of a homicide.
Do you know what your unit's annual statistics are concerning the chemicals and the reactant species?
$40,000 to $50,000 a year we spend on the chemicals and different reagents and chemical supplies.
Are there any specific chemicals that you go through more often?
Yeah, the most common used chemical is ninhydrin, different formulation of ninhydrin, acetone based, HFE 7100 based, also it's DF4, different types of presumptive blood testings, and amido black, it's all bloody, massive blue. We use about 50 or 60 different formulas for our, you know, everyday processing.
We do a lot of fingerprint processing in blood. Here they are. I can't really show you this because I don't have any blood here, and I'm not going to cut myself. But we have Kumasi blue, amido black. They're fantastic chemicals. I love them. We use them on aggravated assaults, stabbings, beatings, shootings, homicide.
Wow.
So they will develop a fingerprint that's latent, which means it's invisible to the naked eye, but it's in blood. So you'll actually develop shoe prints, fingerprints, any kind of latent print, and this will develop it. It does the same thing, reacts with amino acids. It is great. It's amazing. And it's kind of a long process. You have to spray the Kumasi blue on, and then you have to spray a rinse agent on there, which smells like vinegar. It basically is vinegar. And then you're left with your beautiful print.
What is the most interesting case you've worked on?
I have to say it was a case where two men were roommates and they got into an argument. One had decided to move out and there was alcohol involved, but they got into a fight, and so the one guy attacked the other with a weed whacker, and he fled the scene. And it was just a really interesting case because it had a lot of different forensic aspects to it. You know, you had the blood spatter analysis, using the amido black to develop the bloody shoe prints. We had bloody footprints, we had bloody handprints on the hardwood floor. Yeah, we had a lot of, line search, the development of prints. We then did super glue. We have an ability to do super glue fuming on scene in some cases. We have little wands that are portable. You're able to use a lot of different elements of, what we do. It was an interesting case, and that was a good one. This sword is the victim's sword, and they used it to try to break into a safe. Non-porous items, this will go in the super glue tank.
That is so cool. They used it to break into.
They tried, they didn't get in.
Oh.
But you can actually see visible ridge detail all over the sword, and it hasn't even been processed yet. And that's called a patent print. A patent print is what you can see. Believe it or not, a lot of bad guys eat the crime scene, and they'll leave their fingerprints in candy bars, stuff like that.
Really?
That's called a plastic print. Yeah. They eat a lot at the crime scenes. I don't know why. They use the bathroom a lot. I don't know why.
Wow. Things you never knew about a crime scene.
Yeah, you never thought about that, right? They shower too, a lot.
What?
Yeah.
At the victim's house?
Mm-hmm. You would never think that, right?
You can see it's green, yellow, white, red.
Now since I'm on video, it's probably not going to develop for me. This is Bob. He's our other unit member.
It's nice to meet you, Bob.
Say hi, Megan. Oh, there's a lizard on there. Oh my god.
He's a very nice
Isn't he nice?
scientist.
It's right there, a little baby.
Oh my goodness, it's so small. Okay.
Gave me a heart attack.